Hello folks, and welcome back to the Rangers Roundup. Time to look at the Dynamo disaster as Rangers crashed out of Europe last night with a 2-0 defeat in the Champions League third round qualifying stage at Hampden Park. 2 goals from the Ukrainian side were enough to sink Rangers on the night. The series of poor displays from Rangers players, as we've come to expect in recent weeks. James Tavernier, of course, always the target of the Boo Boys, not covering himself in glory yet again with another abject performance at right back. It is beyond time for this man to leave the club now. I think he's had more than enough time at Rangers and it is time for him to move on. Of course, he was far from the only one with egg on his face at the end of the game. I thought Ross McCausland was absolutely terrible once again. I don't have any idea why Philippe Clement chose to start him in the game. I thought maybe he thought he could bring on Czerny as a impact substitution later on in the game and maybe liven things up a bit. I think that was his game plan, but you don't start a crucial Champions League qualifier game with a Ross McCausland. Ross McCausland has never ever been good enough to wear the Rangers jersey, I'm afraid, and he never will be. And I think this boy is another one who has to leave the club and move on somewhere else, go down a league or two and find his level, because I think the boy is absolutely garbage. I don't think we're going over the top by saying that. I think he's poor. I think John Souttar had another poor game again today. Thought John Souttar was weak at the back. I think he's been very, very poor in recent games. I think he looks shaky as hell, doesn't seem to know what he's doing, and the guy is just not very good. I think most would have been glad to see Jeffrey on the starting team sheet. I think people would have been worried that Scott Wright was going to feature again after a series of whack performances. I think whack is the word we should be using to describe Scott Wright. The guy's just no good at all. Another one who needs to pack his bags and get out before the end of the month, in my view. Of course, all the joy of seeing Jeffrey installed on the left hand side was quickly evaporated when we saw McCausland would be playing over on the right hand side. Talk about giving with one hand and taking with the other. I thought John Sterling would have started in the midfield to give a bit of steel, but no, we went with Connor Barron, Diomande and Tom Lawrence again. I thought Tom Lawrence was poor once again for Rangers. He wasn't very good at the weekend, and another poor performance tonight. Just not great. He's not giving you what you would expect from a player in that position, and I think that was a big letdown as well on the night. Another big loss for me was Balogun being ruled out before the game. I think Balogun would have been a shoe-in to start this game. I think Clement would have probably started him alongside Souttar. I would have started him alongside Proper. I think that would have been the lineup to go with this evening. As I said earlier in my team preview, I would have stuck with Balogun and Proper. Thought Proper was alright on the night. Thought Souttar was whack, as I said earlier on. I thought he was poor again, and I think he's got to be dropped for Saturday. Obviously the big talking points coming out of the game would be the Jeffrey yellow card, second yellow card for basically challenging for an air ball, which was an absolute garbage decision by the Italian referee. I don't know if he's wanting blessed by Pope John Paul or whatever it is nowadays, but that was an atrocious decision from the referee. Don't know what he was thinking. If you're not allowed to challenge for an air ball anymore, what's the point of playing the game, to be honest? I mean, let's not kid ourselves. If those challenges were getting yellow cards and red cards, teams like Motherwell and St Mirren in the Scottish Premiership, they'd have about 8 or 9 players missing every week on suspensions for challenging for these balls. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And another talking point coming out of the game, Ridvan Yilmaz going down injured. It didn't look too good as the Turk was stretchered off late in the second half, and knowing our luck, he'll be out now for another 8 or 9 months with some kind of strain or something that we can't quite identify and get fixed. So that's another problem for Rangers going forward. Ben Davies had to come on and fill in that left back slot for the rest of the game, and what are we going to do on Saturday? We're going to play Jeffrey in his original position at left back, or is Davies going to have to fill in there? Who knows? Rangers once again showed a real lack of ability to finish off chances. Just couldn't get the ball out of their feet. Every ball that was coming in, there's quite a few perfectly placed balls into the feet, and players were just stumbling, fumbling, falling over. It's the same old. There's just no clinical finishing at Rangers. We need somebody who's got just that one track mind, who's want to have a go, have a dig, and just have a pop at goal. Take your chances. You can't win the raffle if you don't buy a ticket. We all know that. And I think most Rangers fans would have been hoping that we're just holding off on buying a striker, splashing the cash on a front man until we got that Champions League money in the door. Well, of course that's now evaporated in front of our eyes because we didn't put the money down on the table and get a striker in who could push us over the line. Instead we spent money on this kid Igamani, who no one has seen hide nor hear of since he was brought in over the summer. Apparently he's not fit yet, he's not up to speed. Why not? Has he not been training? Why is it taking these guys so long to get ready to play a game of football? Isn't that his job? Isn't that his career? Why is he not ready to kick a ball for Rangers? I'm sure he's ready to collect his wage, so why is he not kicking a ball? This is just ridiculous management from Rangers across the board. So we now find ourselves in a situation whereby we have no quality forwards at the club and no money to buy one. So where do we go from here? I thought Rangers could have put the money down in January for Shankland just to get us over the line. If his goals could have possibly pushed us towards a title, then the Champions League money would be guaranteed. It would have been in the pocket by now. But no, the board were not willing or not able to put the money down on the table to get the forward in at the time when we needed it the most. And well, the money could have been in the bag by now. But of course, look where we are now. No Champions League money and no striker. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Shankland would have been the be-all and end-all, the answer to all the problems. I actually don't think he would have been. I think he would have been a good addition in January. For me, he's a January signing. One of these guys that when you just need somebody to help you get over the line, like I said, I think he would have been that extra little boost. His goals could have done us a world of good, but we didn't do it at the time. And now it's the summer and you're thinking, well, can we do better than that? Probably we can, but well, we thought we might have been able to had we got the Champions League money. Now I don't think we can, to be honest. Given the two, I would have gone for Miovski from Aberdeen, but of course you know Aberdeen would have played hardball with Rangers. It would have been £6-7 million we'd be looking for, and there's just no way we can play in that ballpark anymore. I'm afraid those days are long gone. So Shankland, I mean, is he better than what we've got at the moment? I would say yes. Is he exactly what you'd be looking for? I would say no. I think the fact that he's a Rangers fan probably puts him high up in the pedestal for a lot of supporters would want him to be the key signing. I don't really think he's going to be the man who would get the business done for Rangers overall. I think he'd be a good maybe second striker, but I don't think he'd be your main man up top. I don't know what we're going to do now. We're going to need to, the recruitment side of it is going to need to kick in now. We're going to have to identify somebody who's available for not much money, who could turn out to be one of the next big great signings for Scottish football. Over the years, of course, we've seen players come in with little to no fanfare and turn out to be massive successes at clubs in Scottish football. So these guys that are recruiting, right, Niels Coppen and the guys that are doing all the recruitment, they need to really get their thinking caps on now, because the money's not there. It won't be there. I think dropping down to the Europa League is, I mean, it's money, but it's not real money. It's not big boy money. It's just chump change really in the world of modern football, I'm afraid. When you see the kind of money it's sloshing about down south, we just can't compete with even smaller clubs down in England, etc. and the continent. We just can't keep up with them. So these guys are really, in the recruitment side of it, these guys are really going to have to earn their money now and have to find Rangers a couple of real diamonds in the rough, because the money's just not there to bring in any kind of known quality of any calibre, I'm afraid. So to summarise, I think that was a real poor one tonight for Rangers. I don't think Dynamo Kiev were a particularly good side. I think Rangers fumbled the ball really badly. I think Rangers could have gone through that game, could have gone through the tie overall, but they didn't, of course, because, well, I mean, the refereeing decision was an absolute shocker, but I think some of the team selection as well wasn't where it should have been on the night. I think, as I stated earlier, I think there was a couple of mistakes in that first 11 that I wouldn't have expected Clement to make, but he did. And we are out of the Champions League before we're even in it, I suppose. So Europa League, here we come, and mustering excitement for that is going to be quite difficult because, well, it's just not a very interesting competition, is it? I mean, you can't really get yourself G'd up for that kind of level of competition unless you're in quarter-finals, the semis, the final, as we were a few years ago. Of course, the road to Seville was great because it was part of coming back from the horror that was 2012, but now I think Europa League runs are just basically a distraction. They're a wee bit of extra change in the pocket, I suppose, for Rangers that Rangers wouldn't be turning their nose up at. But as a supporter, well, it's not a great competition, is it? I mean, it is our level, we know it is, but to be frank, I'd rather be in the Champions League and just getting the money, pay me, pump me, get me out of the competition, because that's what the Champions League is all about for all the Scottish clubs, really. I mean, you go in there, you take your money, you take your beatings, and you get out with the cash. So we've missed out on the opportunity to do that, and it's back to domestic duty on Saturday again at Hampden. It's St Johnstone in the Premier Sports Cup. Oh joy, what another marquee match to look forward to in the Rangers calendar. So I hope you all have a good week, I suppose. As good a week as you can have after this kind of debacle. And this has been your regular Rangers moan from the Rangers Roundup. So we'll see you again at the weekend for St Johnstone. Take care.